Well, I'm joined by the Chief Minister, and on the briefing this week, a few things, but really the new era in public sector employment is what you're heralding.
Yes, we've had the second reading this week of the bill to set up the Public Service Commission, which I promised we'd do some time ago. This is a new commission, a new body which has been set up to manage employee-employer relations across government, and it will replace the current Civil Service Commission and the Whitley Council, amalgamating these two into a single body for the future. So we'll have a single channel for wage negotiations and better coordinate terms and conditions right across government. Overall, this will cover some 4,000 of government workforce, about half government workforce. So it'll be a very, very important step forward in streamlining the relationships between government and the wider workforce.
It sounds good for you, but is it good for the workers?
Yes, I think it is. I think there will be a much cleaner line of communication between government and the workforce generally. It does apply to half the workforce. It doesn't still touch on things like teachers, the police, nurses, that type of thing. They still have their own negotiating bodies which are separate from this. But for civil servants, for manual workers of all levels right across government, this will be a much more effective, I think, route for further dialogue and discussions into the future.
Because there's going to be pressure for pay rises, we talked about this the other week, now that the economy is so-called turned a corner.
Yes, but now these discussions will take place through a single body instead of the disparate groups that we were dealing with in the past. There will be always pressure for wage increases or changes to terms and conditions, but I hope we'll be able to standardise the approach through this. It'll be a more efficient way of doing it. It'll be streamlined. There'll be less bureaucracy. We'll be able to cut through a lot of the usual red tape that ties us, and I hope that will lead to overall improved communications, which has to be a major step forward. Breakdowns in communications have been frequently the cause of many of our problems in the past. Hopefully this will be an improvement on that.
Changing subject, editors announced that there's going to be a hold on getting those buildings that you were talking about briefly last week. Your comments on that?
Yes, this is a very simple step. Tynwald has voted for legal advice, independent legal advice, to be given on the Middlemarch site. That we are waiting at the moment, and therefore Treasury felt it wiser, rather than move this particular order in Tynwald next week, to put the whole thing on hold until we get the legal advice back. Then we can be absolutely clear what the vires of this particular action might be, and we'll be able to vote on it then. But the important thing to remember is this resolution has nothing to do with overspending. There is no government overspend on this. This is simply a tidying up exercise because some capital projects started earlier than anticipated or were better progressed than initially anticipated. So it's simply regularising the annual payment for these. It's nothing to do with overspends.
But you presumed you could just do this, and then you find that you possibly need to check on the legalities of it.
What we're doing is no different to what happens every single year. For as long as I can remember, there's always been a resolution once a year to tidy it up and top and tail some of these projects. This year is no different, except for the fact that one of the projects relates to Middlemarch. There has been a query over the vires and the legality. That's fair comment. We have agreed to get that view, and that's what we're waiting for at the moment. Once that's achieved, whichever way it goes, we'll move forward.
Finally, we're literally going off to the airport in a second. We're running very late, so I've got time. The baton is arriving.
Yes, it's great news for the Isle of Man. I think that it's coming here. The Isle of Man is a very sports-mad jurisdiction. We have some great athletes and sports people generally on the island, and of course we've just announced the team for the Commonwealth Games, 46 people going this year. I think it's the biggest squad we've ever sent to the Commonwealth Games. I think interest now is starting to fire up. The island, I'm sure, will be 100% behind the team over there. There's a lot of interest. We've now restored the air link to Glasgow. That was done specifically to be completed before the start of the Commonwealth Games. So Manx people will be able to get to Scotland to support our team easier. So the baton arriving today is really kick-starting the whole exercise, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of enthusiasm and excitement abroad because of it.
The sun's shining. The one show should show us off well on the telly tonight.
We do have a nice day today, but the one show is a great coup for the Isle of Man. We have, I think, about half an hour of unbroken publicity on primetime television. Certainly one or two of the presenters, I understand, are very great friends of the Isle of Man anyway.
Oh, Chris Evans loves it here. He's always coming over, apparently.
They do rate the Isle of Man, and so we should get some very good promotion out of it. And I hope the public will go down to the promenade tonight and show the support for the Commonwealth team.